Hey there, welcome back to the channel. I thought today I would go over my sleep system that I used on the Appalachian Trail. So stick around, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into it. So my sleep system consists of four components. So I've got my quilt, I've got my insulated pad, I've got a Sea to Summit reactor liner, a liner that goes inside the sleeping bag, and I've also got my pillow. So let's start with the biggest item first, and that will be my quilt. So I opted for a Katabatic Gear Flex 22-degree quilt. I won't pull it fully out. I've got a separate video on my page of this quilt where I do an initial unboxing and initial impressions and all that. You can certainly go to that video and get a lot more details than I'll cover here, but as I'm pulling it out of the sil nylon bag that it came with, you kind of get a quick look at it. I loved this quilt. I really did. So I got the wide long version, which means that this is 6 foot 6 inches long, and I forget what the width is, but it's just the wide version. I know that I roll around quite a bit when I sleep, so this gives me the freedom to go from side to side without being restricted. For those who don't know, basically a quilt is generally lighter for the temperature that it's rated down to, because it's missing a lot of the back material. So even though at the top here, it can snap around your head, it's got a built-in draft collar, I might add, and there's where you can really snug it down around your neck or wherever. But beyond where it snaps behind your head, it's essentially open here. So you're laying in here, and beneath you, of course, is your insulated pad. And this quilt came with two different connection systems, and I was able to utilize that when I was on trail. So basically you take the cords that come inside with the quilt, and you put them around your insulated pad. Then you take your quilt, and it's got little clips. There's 4 little clips on the back side of it. You clip those in, and it really kind of gives you not near 100% protection, but it definitely comes around your body quite a bit better. So that was certainly useful. So this long, wide quilt weighed in at about 28 ounces, and that's with the sil nylon bag and everything. So for a 22 degree quilt, that's actually pretty light. I talked about my insulated pad, so we'll get into that next. What I used was the Nemo Tensor Insulated, the regular wide. So regular wide, so regular meaning 6 foot, wide meaning 25 inches. So 25 by 72 is what this insulated pad measures out to. Your standard or your not wide pad is generally around 20 inches wide. So this is 25 inches wide, 72 inches long, and it treated me very well. As is, it weighs about 18 ounces. So not too bad at all, just over a pound. And it has a 4.2 R value. Never had any issues with this thing. It worked flawlessly. When I was sleeping in a shelter, I would normally put my tent's ground cover on the bottom of the shelter, and then I would lay my insulated pad on top of that just for some added protection. And that's kind of how I would approach all of my nights when I was sleeping inside the shelter. Most of it's, old lumber where you're sleeping. It's all, and there are certainly opportunities for splinters, and not to mention just people sleeping in there day in and day out. So, and just the whole uckiness of dry skin and all the other stuff. So I always use my ground cloth as the very base, and then I put my insulated pad on top of that. But I love this thing. It has a blow-up sack, which is what I used to air it up. It's right here. Pretty good size. So this connection right here goes onto the pad. Once that's connected, you go to the other end, you open it up, you blow a bunch of hot air into this thing, and then you roll it down like so, and as you do, it's putting air into the pad. So super nice system, super lightweight. It wasn't that difficult to air up at the end of the day, even when I was tired. I think I checked it out several times, and I want to say about 5 of those full bags worth blew the pad up all the way, so it really wasn't that difficult. Really like that pad. I'm glad I selected it, and I would buy it again for sure. The third thing that I had was this Sea to Summit Thermolite Reactor liner. This is a sleeping bag liner, just a regular size, worked for me. They say that this will add anywhere from 8 to 14 degrees Fahrenheit of warmth. I can't put a number to it, but I will tell you without a doubt, I felt warmer with this thing than I did without it. So I felt like this was a lifesaver a few nights when it was dipping down into the 20s. And the real feel was, down into the teens. I really felt like this made a big difference. It's a little bit heavy in this little package. The whole thing here weighs about like 10.2 ounces, I think, which, for people trying to be pretty light, that's quite a bit of weight. But I got to tell you, I was tickled to death that I decided to bring it with me. At one time, I was thinking of leaving it at home, but I'm sure glad I didn't, because I'd have had some seriously cold nights had I not had that with me. So I believe there's another version of this that's even warmer, or says it's warmer. I think it might be a wool blend or something. But I like this because it was warm, and I also use this as a laundry bag. So when I was doing laundry, wherever I was, I would put all my dirty laundry inside this liner, and I would just carry the liner over my shoulder to the laundromat, and I would just throw it in as it was. So all my laundry stayed together. It was all inside my liner. And when it was done, I'd take it from there and fold up my laundry and all that kind of thing. So kind of dual purpose. I really did enjoy having this thing. The fourth piece of my sleep system was a Amazon find. It was a Ricky Ticky pillow, inflatable pillow. I won't pull it out, but what you see here is part of the pillow. So it folds up into its own little pocket, if you will. So again, this is inflatable. You just basically pull it out of its little package right here, find the valve, blow it up like you would any other floating raft or whatever, and get it to the desired pressure, and then sleep with it. I did have my wife sew this elastic band around it. You can kind of see I pulled part of it out here. I did have her sew that around the pillow, or at least from on the back side. So when I did go to sleep at night, I would take this strap and I'd put it around my insulated pad, and it would hold the pillow in place, which was so nice. I'm so glad that I had her do that, because the few nights that I was doing some trips before I actually hit trail, it was tough to keep my pillow below my head and on top of my insulated pad. So that made a huge difference. Usually when I would be done for the night, I'd actually take my cell phone and put it underneath the pillow, so it laid between my pillow and my insulated pad, and it would just stay there all night long. So you want to protect your electronics when it's cold outside. A lot of people put them inside their quilt or sleeping bag with them, but I opted most of the time to put mine between my pillow and insulated pad, and it worked out really well for me. So that's my sleep system. I wanted to keep this video kind of short, because sometimes I can get a little bit long-winded, and I didn't want to do that on this one. There's nothing here that I showed you today that I wouldn't purchase again. I was very satisfied with my sleep system. It worked really well for me, and I'm looking forward to using it again in the future. And yeah, that's about all I can say. Thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or any support or anything, just leave it down there in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.